welcome to Hear Me Out Pitch, or welcome back if you're returning. This is Tim.
And this is Willem.
And yeah, another episode.
Double feature this week. Oh boy.
Hopefully.
We
That's
are
the plan.
going to attempt it. Me and Tim are going to see each other a lot this week. Well, honestly, it's just like what we used to do a year ago. I think we saw each other like 3 times, or 4 a week. It was hilarious.
Yeah, we'd watch a movie and then we'd record.
That's why we both had jobs still. And you were in school. It was like, what?
Yeah.
And now we're just both so busy.
Now we both just have jobs and no school.
Right. And no monies. Oh,
yeah.
Please give us money. Just kidding. No, honestly, this is just a hobby. If it did turn into something, oh my gosh, cool beans. But honestly, this is just something that I like doing because I'm trying to prove a point that we could do better as storytelling. I don't know about you guys, but D23 this year, I wasn't excited for a lot. I think the live action Stitch might be okay, and I'll be fair with that one because Stitch movie's over 20 years old, so I'll give it to them.
Lilo and Stitch is pretty great.
So I'll give that. I think a live action Atlantis is coming. I'm pretty excited for that. But everything else, Frozen 3, Moana 2,
Moana 2 could work. Everything else, everything that goes beyond a sequel.
Toy Story 5, what?
Why?
Well, no, and did you hear, it's about them battling electronics because toys aren't getting played. And it's like, stop, no, really? You should have stopped with 3 if this is going to be how it is.
You really should have stopped with 3.
You had a chance to link up these movies. You had a chance to make Lightyear a prequel to an awesome idea of Andy finding Woody and Buzz again as a father and him and his son or daughter playing with them at the end of the movie. That would have been a better idea wholeheartedly than this. And guess what? You still could have included the kid being distracted with electronics. Probably could have, but this whole thing where it looks like it's Bonnie, it's like, well, or maybe this could be Andy. I don't know.
I don't know.
Because by this point, if we were following real time... Oh, and Incredibles 3... you all know how I felt about the 3rd movie. Second movie. It better jump towards the kids being adults, and then this should be the sequel.
It won't.
Please just do it. I don't care. We don't need to see...
The second one did set it up for a 3rd one to be possible with Supers coming back out.
Then they should just go, all right, Supers came out, cool, and then blam, and we should just have teenage Jack, and he's struggling with his powers. It could be a big issue. Dash is always frantic, maybe he's dating someone, he's just frantic, and Violet once again is, I don't know, maybe she's a new mom or something. Maybe not even a mom, because honestly, Violet, no, guys, she really liked Tony Ridinger. I really could see them being a couple.
Tony Ridinger.
And just, especially if they made it such a big deal in the second movie, why wouldn't they, make it a cute thing of, aw, kind of like with Coraline and YB in our sequel. It's like, if it's that cute and it resonates that strong, why not just be hopeful? So, anyway, we definitely need to go see Coraline in theaters.
I agree.
But enough with the tangents. We are here to talk about a fun... and I'll be honest, I kind of went off on this, and I haven't taken as much notes, but I've been thinking about it. So I'm excited for what Tim has. But for anyone who wants to kind of get what I threw at Tim as a challenge this week, look up the song, and if I say the artist names wrong, and you have it, and here, take your time right here, go listen to this song. It's called Promise by, I believe the name is Laufey. I've tried to find so many pronunciations, but the song is called The Promise by Laufey. Absolutely was, it comes on and is obsessed with it, and it's funny because I even sent Tim a video, almost a year back, and they used this in the background with a certain magical elf and a magical sword. Do you remember the video I'm telling about?
I don't.
It's about the Master Sword and how the Master Sword broke its promise. if you haven't guessed or if you haven't put it together, this episode is very much inspired by that song, if you've listened to it, and The Legend of Zelda.
And my version is very heavily inspired by Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh, that's true. Which, again, I would argue is
The Legend of Zelda.
The Legend of Zelda,
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda movie.
Yes.
Like, if the newest Legend of Zelda movie comes out and it doesn't make me tear up as much as Kubo, because, yeah, I love Kubo and the Two Strings. I love Legend of Zelda. I'm not as big as Tim. I think the story is one of the most intriguing stories ever. I would love to, which is funny because Tim gave me a graphic novel that's been sitting in my dresser for like a year. I have put it on my dresser and I made a goal this morning to actually start reading it.
Nice.
I'm gonna get it done, Tim. I'm gonna get it
Which
done.
one did I give you?
The green one. I don't know. If you don't know, then
Is that the Minish Cap?
no, it's like some. I'll show you after. But this episode's original story is based off that and just a promise. And I want the main character. Our main character is going to be a Princess Zelda type character. She's a princess. Yeah. We're going to try and attempt for another female character. And
my goal for this character, I like the name Seraphina. As like a princessy kind of.
That's a good name.
And she'd be referred to as Princess Sarah.
Okay.
S-E-R-A.
S-E-R-A.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because it's derived from seraphim, right? Kind of an angelic type being.
I haven't even come up with a name. I didn't think of anything.
Oh, I've got some names.
So, and that's fine.
Names.
So I think, Tim, I'll be honest, I haven't done as much. There's just a few scenes I usually don't. You know how I do like synopsis. I do a brief statement of what I want, a few scenes in my head, and just the vibe I want to feel. And I think the vibe I want to feel is like a good connection. I want, like, if that song of so in love, but yet you're not gonna ever truly get it because of this wall, this barrier, this promise, or this curse or something. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. So I think I'm gonna turn it to you, and I just want to hear what you've got for us, and we'll talk it out. We'll make something happen.
All right. Kind of had an idea for the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
It'll feel the idea that I have for the very beginning, the very first couple minutes of this movie. I want it to feel like how it feels when you read the prologue in The Way of Kings. I want it to kind of feel like
we're getting that deep lore prologue, like what is happening. So the type of movie that we want, the type of story that when people come back to this story or prologue, they're like, oh, okay. So we're gonna tell them nothing, but also give them everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll essentially be, it'll be a hero. The man in shining armor, the knight in shining armor with magical sword. Yes, because this is our Legend of Zelda story, there will be a magic sword.
How many? Okay, first, no, hold on, Tim. If anyone's getting mad, Star Wars, magic swords. Arthur, magic swords. Anyway, knight in shining armor, magic sword. I went off on a little tangent, but I don't care. You guys still have to allow some tangents. But I will admit that some of our episodes are like originally all 2 hours long. Shut up, Tim.
It's just all tangents.
All tangents. Okay, to put in perspective, the first episode we did, that one is like the worst example of how many tangents I went on. I am going to fix that episode. Anyway, Tim. Knight in shining armor.
Yes. So we'll get our knight in shining armor, and what was the name I had for him? Kalen.
I love that name.
like Kaelen.
That's exactly. I thought of it I at the end, but Kaelin, Kae. I immediately saw that.
Not to be confused with Kaylin, which is a woman's name.
Oh,
Kaylin. Emphasis on the first syllable. Anyway, his name is Kaylin, and he is going to be our knight in shining armor for the whole movie.
I'm imagining they're all Celtic now, and they all have this wonderful, like, sing-songy voice now in my head, and I love it. And they're all blonde.
Yes. So he will be standing. I'm imagining almost like I can see it in my head. I can see like Grand Canyon. He's standing at the edge of a cliff, and off the edge of the cliff, floating is just this amorphous blob of shadow and darkness that like almost like if you've played Ocarina of Time, you know Morpha in the Water Temple, the infamous Water Temple, where Morpha is essentially an amoeba. Mastery over water. Anyway, he creates these tendrils of water, and I'm imagining it's like that, but shadow. And there's just wisps of shadow coming off of it, and there's just in the center just a great big red glowing orb. In the middle
is it an eye?
In the middle, kind of more the nucleus of an
beautifully correct angel
of an amorphous being. It's kind of the nucleus.
Be not afraid. Very afraid.
But yeah, and I'm imagining, the music. We're getting the opening swell for any movie. When we're seeing our knight, and then the camera will pan around, and we're seeing his back now instead of his face, and he'll be holding. I'm imagining like this prismatic looking sword.
Prismatic means
colorful.
Just the typical. But you're also just imagining
almost
like typical
oil on the ground, oil on water.
Oh, I thought you meant like prismatic is in the shape.
No.
Does that mean
no? Prismatic is colorful.
Oh, what would you call the typical, like, I don't know? It looks like the prism type shaped swords that you typically see in like night movies and like the generic.
It's just a sword.
Okay, whatever. That's what I meant. I really thought you meant the shape. I'm not a smart man. Okay.
I don't actually know all the terms for the shapes of the swords.
Okay.
Yeah, so his sword will be he'll have his sword in hand, he'll have a shield, nice clean armor, not clean, but like well taken care of.
It's got some dents.
It looks like it's seen use.
It looks like it's been through a few blacksmiths to get recovered, and some permanent dents that you can't get rid of.
Maybe one shoulder, one pauldron is a slightly different shade of silver.
I always prefer the single shoulder pauldron over their shield arm, and then they have their, or is it the other way around? I don't know. I'm a single pauldron guy. That's how I based my tattoo off of. So yes, Willem has one. Oh my gosh. Anyway.
But yeah, the sword, it looks like oil on water, where it's kind of that wavy rainbow type of look.
I can.
And the sword, I have a couple names, but I think the one that I want to settle with is Astra.
Oh heck yeah, that's way better.
It's a pretty cool name for a sword, I think.
I can already see his spren. I know that's not what we're going for, but I can already see his spren. An annoying little red guy just following him around. Astra, get down. Listen, hey, listen. Hey. You know you're going to die, right? I don't have time for this, Astra. We're not going to have the sword talk.
No, the sword doesn't talk. The sword is magical, though.
But we do. I've always loved that recently we've seen more, in the past like 20 years, we've seen more weapons with conscience in a way, like they have a spirit there, because it's
a sentience of a sword.
and it's cool that the Master Sword got a sentience. I think that Brandon Sanderson has made something so amazing with his shard blades. I don't think there will ever be, I don't care what you say, Percy Jackson would totally get cut by a shard blade. Anyway, that's another rant from another day. I just got angry at some. Gotta love the internet. Anyway, Sorry, I'm sorry with the tangents. My brain is just going, and this is what it is. I know, my bad. One final thing. My cousin made me laugh so hard because he goes, "I really like Tim because he reins you in." I'm like, sometimes I have to rein him in. When? At D&D night.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway,
it's true. But yeah, so we'll pan to see Kalen, sword in hand, shield on his arm, facing down this evil, and the evil, I have given it the name Malachar. It seems very Lord of the Ringsy, and I like it.
I will not judge any of the names you give because I am not good with names. So
I'm a dungeon master. I have to be at least somewhat decent.
It is really nice having your co-host be someone who literally has to make up stories and characters and names. So
yeah,
it's
if I
nice.
could do that for a living, it'd be amazing. But
we'll see what happens.
Not yet, at least. Anyway, he will be facing this evil, and we'll have we'll have the classic voiceover from another character that we'll meet later. It's going to be an older female voice, and she'll explain, and she'll say, throughout eternity, a fight between light and dark has always occurred, kind of thing. And she'll essentially explain that at one point early on in the existence of this world, a great evil was birthed out of the void, out of the nothing. And that great evil is Malachar, the devourer of light, who wants nothing more than to drown all of existence in its darkness, in its nothingness. Again, it's a very, very classic trope of the bad guy wanting to take control of everything and make it their own. We've seen it with Ganondorf in The Legend of Zelda. We've seen it with I'm playing through Destiny right now. We're seeing it with Sauron. We're seeing it in Destiny with
the dark side.
Witness.
We see it. We saw it with
Thanos. We saw it with everybody.
We've made our own story of light versus dark, yin and yang, good versus evil, adversity versus what would that be? But just, it's okay. If people get upset about it, then that's on them. But I think humanity has always had a feeling that there is good and there is evil. So you can't argue with that. I imagine, can I take a guess of what the voiceover is going to do? I'm curious. Can I just take a guess of what's going to happen?
Go ahead and guess.
I'm just imagining the big fight scene, and she's going about there was, in the beginning, there was light, there was dark. And, there always was a, hero of light to come forth and fight the darkness and fight whatever. And blah, blah, blah goes off, and it shows maybe other warriors fighting him. And, and the special thing is this hero was always, reincarnated or something. And then, it'll go off, and it'll, do a slow motion cut of him charging, go off, and then it'll cut to her going, but this time, he didn't come back, or something like that. Like Avatar style, like he vanished, like he was gone, something like that.
Not quite.
Darn it!
You got most of it, but no, he.
Oh, I was taking a gander of how
he does come back, and it's that basically this beginning will end with this voiceover saying Malachar was sealed within the void.
Oh.
And is prophesized to come back after 10,000 years.
Okay.
Or after 1,000 years, or something like that. Or decent amount of time.
Or maybe they even thought it would be forever. We hope.
No, I want there to be kind of a spirit of prophecy in this kind of story.
Okay.
I'm gonna be building on the prophecy a little bit later.
Okay.
The prophecy will also state that when Malachar will return, the hero will be killed again, and unless he can return quicker than normal, unless he does return faster than normal, everything will end.
Okay.
And it'll all hinge on more luck than anything else. More luck than actual prophecy for the end.
Okay.
Because that's kind of what when I do prophecies in Dungeons and Dragons, I try to leave them open so that if I do end up accidentally killing my players with the most ridiculous thing.
I have a theory that most DMs don't want to kill off their players. I have a feeling most of you guys out there who are DMs, you guys will seriously go, that was not a nat 20, that was a 6. Cool.
So the prophecy will be left somewhat open so that destiny can kind of take its course and do its own thing without being constrained to the confines of a prophecy. If that makes sense. Almost like giving history and destiny an agency of its own. So we're going to get that, and then we're going to hear a younger female voice, ask something to the effect of, "Where is the hero now?" And then we'll fade away from seeing, we will have seen in this kind of backstory vision the defeat of this darkness of Malachar and his sealing away, and we will see the hero several times reincarnated. As he gets old, he passes away and his spirit finds another host.
Maybe we should show some people trying to release said minion, and it shows the hero fighting, it shows bands, it shows cults, it shows followings, it shows maybe not reincarnations but possessions, and she could be listing all this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And sometimes the hero is killed, but he always comes back before Malachar's time is up. Always. And so we'll see different versions of our hero. One with blonde hair, maybe one with red hair, one with black hair, one with different colored, blue eyes, brown eyes, just a different spectrum of him looking different, but always the same kind of face shape.
We could have it that one time, because I'm assuming we have the princess. There's a time where it even shows them swap genders.
Sure.
It's just all sorts of things.
Yeah. So, and it'll be explained that sometimes the hero is born as a baby, not an attractive woman.
As a wee babe. I didn't even think of that. That's funny. Anyway.
I hear babe and I immediately think of an attractive woman because that's the nickname I use for my wife.
Babe, wait. I wish I had that problem. It's fine.
Someday. In eternity,
Oh gosh, thanks, Tim.
I'm kidding. Anyway, sometimes they're born, he's reincarnated as a baby, and other times his soul finds a body that just has given up living, or that the original host has been killed, and they just kind of reanimate as that person.
Maybe
because I think it would be kind of cool, almost like a good kind of necromancy.
What if maybe not necromancy? What if just sometimes the hero it's just that the spirit will just fall upon someone. He's about to be born or something.
Someone worthy.
But someone worthy. Like, yeah, the sword and the stone. Sword and stone
almost like
type
a
thing.
preordained
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Like
the spirit chooses several options.
Maybe it shows an old man. Maybe it shows like some raiders coming to an old village and you see like a simple farmer come up and he walks up with a hoe. And at the hoe, I mean a gardening tool, everybody. Be adults here. And it shows him holding it, and then you just see this, like, outline of the hero instead, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it'll look kind of like this, like, the camera angle will, like, haze, or however it's animated or done, it'll, like, haze out, and we'll just see, instead of a farmer holding out his hoe aggressive in a defensive stance, it's the hero. And it'll show like the aftermath after, and it'll show him like sadly dying because he's an older man, but it'll show that everyone else is cheering and saving him, crying as the old man passes away, and the spirit will move on, something like that. Mm-hmm. I think that would be more, because I don't believe that the hero would take over a body. The spirit would try to help someone, and it would be cute though because
I've always imagined that it's. Not always, but I since I came up with this idea of the reincarnated hero, I've been imagining that it's almost like a merging of spirits, until the person dies, and then the spirit of the hero.
So maybe it's just a great necessity. Maybe just whatever's driving this light just finds. Maybe it's just. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it's not that they didn't realize they were the hero. They just lived a simple life, but they still
they were worthy.
They were still worthy, and it showed them doing a great sacrifice in the end. Like, I think that would be cute. Like, it just shows us. I just imagine that simple farmer is just like a cute thing. Like, just the prince, and it just shows like it shows his wife holding him as he's dying, and it outlines as the princess and the hero. Again, like, kind of fades as kind of we're showing that, because I kind of meant to Tim that I love Link and Zelda being an item, and I want this to be a love story, which I still think it's weird that some of the games they're not at all like anything. One of the stories you go find a sister, and the other story Link goes after a different girl altogether, and Zelda's like older than him. I was like, that's cool, that's weird. Because I don't think they're the same age in Twilight Princess. No. She's like a full-grown woman who's leading the kingdom. And it's so cute when he's the wolf and just looks at her, and you're like, oh! And I'm like, in another life. Anyway, I like this. Sorry. I like it a lot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot. Yeah.
I like it a lot. So we'll see, the reincarnations of this hero, and we'll finally end, with this younger girl, probably like 8 or 9 ish, asking, where's the hero now? And we'll see a new version of this hero. I've been imagining almost very, very similar features to Link. I want the blonde hair, the blue eyes, a little bit shorter than a normal person, than average. Our height.
Link technically is 5'4".
He is. He's a short hero.
King.
Yep. I've been imagining him looking a lot like Link, and he still wears.
And that's okay.
He still wears the armor. Maybe we'll see like a green bandana every now and again, just as a fun nod.
I like the green bandana.
Yeah, and we'll see. And the voiceover will also explain that with each passing of a new hero, also comes the sword. The legendary Astra, the only blade that is able to cut through the darkness. And it can only be wielded by the spirit, the one who bears the spirit of the hero, as the spirit and the sword are bound, kind of thing. And that way, it's almost like in Dungeons and Dragons, there's attunement, right? Some items can only be attuned by a certain class or a certain race or a certain type of creature, kind of thing. And I'm imagining it something like that, where Astra can only be fully wielded by one who possesses that spirit, that hero's spirit, who is the reincarnated hero.
Yeah.
The voiceover lady will say, well, dear princess, he is here as your chosen protector, or as your protector, stationed by your, or given that station, that position by your father, the king. Very similar to how in Breath of the Wild, Link is Zelda's chosen knight,
yeah.
right? Very, very similar to that. And we'll then kind of fade out, and we'll see this version of Kalen, who is, he's sparring out in the courtyard with some soldiers, having a good time. He's smiling, he's laughing with them, and he'll look up, and we'll see the tower, and we'll kind of very, very classic fantasy Disney style. Camera will fly up into the tower, and we'll see the princess, and the queen will be the one who is giving the voiceover, and this will be a progression of, this will continue that progression of that backstory to the world. And the princess Seraphina will ask her mom what happens when Malachar comes back. When will Malachar come back? And her mom will say, in your lifetime he will come back.
Maybe, sorry, a little. I think the only suggestion I would give is, so Seraphina's young right now, like little girl, like 8.
Yeah, and we'll have the.
So maybe this.
We'll see her grow up.
Maybe she doesn't know maybe the mom doesn't really know who the warrior is, or like she just knows. I
think they know.
Okay.
At this point. And you'll understand why in a minute.
So is he like maybe like 12 or something? Like
no, he's mid to late 20s.
Oh.
So our age.
Oh. Well, my romance has gone out the window.
No.
Oh.
Don't worry. We'll get to the romance later. It'll be less weird later.
Okay, because I was thinking maybe he could be like a squire, and we just see him sitting there watching all the heroes, and the mom could be that knowing mom, like, he's probably a lot closer than you think, and it just zooms in on the squire, like, wow.
Owen Wilson.
Okay, but now, okay, all right. If you promise me,
I promise.
I can still.
You'll get your romance.
I need it. Nintendo, make a cute Legend of Zelda Studio Ghibli movie. I need it now. I don't. I just want a slice of life anime about Princess Zelda and Link, and I will throw money. I don't care. That's all I want in life, is a slice of life, Legend of Zelda, Link and Zelda, just cute. I want it. So, how? Because my brain, and I'm actually excited though, because now I'm like, because I've had a few things that I wanted, and I'm excited because we usually match the same vibe. Sometimes
we've usually got a decent.
I called that beginning pretty decently though.
Yeah, you did.
But, okay. And also, I told you what source material I wanted and what I was thinking, so it's fine.
So we will, moving forward, the next several minutes we will see her growing up. And I'm imagining each scene is going to be adding, it's one year later than the last. So the next scene, we'll see her learning how to be, how to be a proper princess kind of thing. The next year, she'll be talking with, she'll be learning, studying with books. The next year, and I want four scenes. So at this point, she's like 13 or 14, probably 14 years old with this one. So start start at 10, move up to 14. And this is when stuff starts to happen. We'll see, she's walking with maybe one of her handmaidens, and they're talking, and she looks out and she makes eye contact with Kalen, and he smiles and nods and goes back to sparring with someone. And all is great, and then you look up in the sky and it's turning dark. And it's almost like the clouds are turning into those dark tendrils that you saw in Malachar at the beginning, reaching across the sky. And Kalen will look, or one of the soldiers that he's sparring with will get beaten and knocked to the ground, and he'll look up and he'll just kind of stare at the sky, and he'll point, and Kalen will look up, and he'll put away his sparring sword, which generally is just a simple arming sword, or sometimes a wooden sword if you're younger. It also depends on where we're talking about, like what kingdom or whatever. My nerd history. But he'll go and he'll get ready, and we'll see a quick little stint of him throwing on armor, and he's got his own squires, putting up his armor while he's putting his helmet on, getting his belt, and he'll have his sword. He'll draw the blade partway out of the sheath, and we can see Astra,
the same glinty,
oily. I don't want it to look oily, but like that's kind of the just the image, just to get the kind of the colors.
No, I got you. Shiny and chrome.
Yeah. Like a colorful chrome.
Yeah.
That shifts.
No, I got you.
Colors.
I can see it.
Yeah. He'll draw it partway out of the sheath, close it. He'll put it on his belt. He'll swing onto his horse and start riding out with a couple of his soldiers. I'm imagining, he's got a good amount of soldiers behind him, maybe a dozen or so, and they ride hard to that same cliffside, that same... I realized what I said. Horses, Willow.
I know.
They're riding hard and fast to get to this cliff. Again, very similar to the Grand Canyon, and we'll see the sky is just getting darker and darker and darker as they get closer, and they don't stop. Their horses keep running and running until finally they come to the cliff's edge, and we see almost like a tear in space. If you've ever seen Doctor Who, there's a lot of scenes where they kind of rip through space, kind of like that. Especially if you've seen the Pandorica
nerd
bits where there's just the tears in space in reality. Anyway, so we'll see this rift opening up, and we'll see Kalen swing off his horse and draw his sword, and I imagine almost like a flame, just light wreaths this blade, pure light, like a flame, and he draws the sword and he rushes towards it, and then we cut to the princess, and she'll be worried, and everybody will be concerned that Malachar is coming back for good, and we'll hear hoofs on the cobbled streets, and we'll go out, and it'll be raining, kind of the classic, you know. It's a sad moment because we realize Kalen's been killed. Only three or four of his knights are with him, and they come with bearing him on the back of his horse. Sword is in its sheath, and kind of like Aragorn, right, in Lord of the Rings, when he's tackled by the warg, he goes over the cliff into the river below, and then he has his horse and he's riding very kind of weak and tired towards Helm's Deep, something like that. Except
he's gone.
He's not. Yeah, he's.
Is he dead or is he dying?
Dying.
Okay.
At this point, he's dying.
But
Seraphina will be watching. Lightning will strike, cueing the next scene, and they'll be at a funeral for Kalen, who it'll be revealed by one of the knights that he was with, one of the survivors, that he sacrificed himself to close the rift again. And so we'll, in this bit, you know, first 20 minutes of the movie maybe, we'll learn who Malachar is, Great Evil. We'll learn who Kalen is, and we'll learn Seraphina. We'll meet those three characters. Those are the three main characters.
Again, everybody, we are totally basing this on The Legend of Zelda, and I don't care. It is we're doing this because I want it, I love it, and I'm talking to someone who loves it so much that it looks like I hate it. So Kalen is dead, and Seraphina is going to continue to grow up. You know, the king will explain that since Kalen defeated Malachar again and sealed the rift, they shouldn't have to worry anymore. That was the prophesized time of Malachar's return. And we'll have a little bit more filler in there, but then we'll continue to see Seraphina grow up, this time skipping 2 or 3 years per cutscene. We'll see her learning how to use a sword. I want to see her very, very much like Twilight Princess Zelda. She knows how to hold her own. She has a sword. I imagine she's in full-on Joan of Arc type armor.
Yes. That's kind of
she's
my
like,
image.
just Meredith, I'll be shooting from my own hand. I'm going to be the hero. So when I make one little suggestion, because I do like this, can we make that there is a fact that people have noticed? Because the mom, so everyone knew who it was. They recognized that he was the hero. Can we at least have people recognize that it's strange that the hero and the princess were not the same age? Can we make that because maybe throughout all of it, they've always been together?
Yeah, if we want to, yeah.
Because I feel like it could be such a weird fact. Because again, you saw my expression. I was like, really? He's in his 20s and she's a kid?
Yeah.
And I know that it's common.
If you haven't figured it out, he's reincarnated as someone that's her age.
Yeah.
Later.
Okay, so is that why the spirit going in to someone was kind of a thing that you mentioned? Okay.
Yeah, and that way, when someone died, they didn't have to wait until the hero was of hero age before they could fight. It was the spirit could choose someone that the world needed now. And if they needed a child to grow up as the hero and learn how to be the hero as a child, so be it.
Sometimes you're born with it, or sometimes it's thrusted upon you.
Yeah.
I still like that gardener scene. The farmer scene. I just love it. Okay, then okay.
Yeah. I'm imagining that we can have that scene where maybe the queen is explaining sometimes the hero is born to live a normal life, and other times
They are just called.
they are called to be the hero.
Oh, and it just that I don't know why, just the farmer saving his, and it's just, and it wasn't even, it was like a time of peace. It could be like a simple time of peace that we're implying, but it just showed these bandits coming, and the spirit of the hero said, "This town needs a hero. I'm holding out for it here." Anyway, and it's just cute. I think that there was that's just how it was, or maybe yeah. Okay, so we have to really make sure then that it's mentioned. Well, okay, there's something that
Or we don't need to mention that the princess and the hero have always been of the same age. It doesn't need. I maybe this could be like the first time where the
yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's just different because my romantic idea. Okay, maybe I should interject with what I was originally thinking. It was a endless princess almost. Like she is like a god. She lives on. She never dies. She's like the perfect version of Zelda, or maybe even the woman she meets in Tears of the Kingdom. I haven't played it, but that's who I'm like imagining, this like endless being. And the hero, though, if he does die, he gets reincarnated and he'll somehow find his way back to her. And the idea was that one time the hero, he didn't come back, and like hundreds of years go by and she's just by herself, and there was that ominous threat of darkness coming, and she's like, "We need the hero," and he never came back. That was kind of what that song was about, that like I've been waiting, I've kept it, and she was,
all right.
I don't know, that's kind of what
We could have that, and maybe it wasn't that.
No, Tim, I like your story,
Yeah.
and I want to go. We can talk about mine.
Maybe there was a gap, and this version of Kalen is the first time that we've seen him in several centuries.
Or maybe they thought he was it. Maybe they really were like, maybe
I don't
this
know.
guy.
I think I like that he was.
Well, I guess.
And that way, she grew up with him,
yeah.
knowing who he is, getting to know him.
Yeah.
And because she
But
was
it was a big brother or like an uncle type
like
thing.
a big brother.
And that's fine. So right now, I'll just say this is gonna we're gonna have, I forgot which episode we did, where we basically just had two separate things. So I just want to tell you guys what I had in mind, but I'm really intrigued by what Tim's going with, so I want to keep going with it. But I will tell you a twist that I wanted. My story, if you all can't tell by how I do stuff, it's a tearjerker, it's sad, but a happy sad, that sort of thing. But my goal was to make this eternal being who always had a hero just feel hopeless, and like for hundreds of years she hasn't had her hero, and something went wrong with the system, like something happened she doesn't know, she's confused, and then something would happen, and but I kind of want to see if I can sneak it into yours somehow, but probably not. But I'll tell you when you probably do your big twist, which I know he's probably going to have one. So
yeah, there'll be a twist.
Ooh, what a twist! Just call Tim Night Shyamalan.
Except I would rate the movie that shall not be named much better.
What were you talking about?
I don't know.
I don't know. There is no movie in Bossing Say. Yeah. And frankly, there is no live action either.
No.
Don't
Anyway,
care.
where was I? Oh,
So Kaylin has passed away. We're seeing.
we're watching Seraphina grow up.
She's her own. She's awesome.
She's growing up. She is learning how to be a proper princess and queen, as well as how to be a warrior. Like she knows how to fight. She can hold her own.
I would like to make her like as good as the hero, because she just felt like I need to at least be there, because they both represent light.
Now that the hero is gone and I don't have a bodyguard, I can be my own bodyguard.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I would love that. I would love to see that, because it'd just be, I think it'd just be cool just to see her like just kind of angry that they took her like bodyguard, because he probably cared for her. Like there's probably some cute scenes of them, like him following her, or like she's like trying to sneak away and you just see She's trying to jump out, like sneak out the balcony.
I could see one scene.
And you see Kaylin staring at her from the floor. Get back in the window, princess. Dang it! I'm like, go back in.
I can see one scene where I've got it.
Okay.
One scene before he dies, we see him hand her a wooden sword, a small wooden sword that would be her size at the age that she would be.
Oh, he's like, don't tell your parents, but we'll start when I get back. You know, maybe that's
no. So he's training her how to use a sword.
Yeah.
And that scene will end with him saying, "Never stop practicing.
Aww.
And someday you'll be as good as me, and better." And then he goes off and dies.
So maybe he's practicing with her.
Yeah, I think he would be teaching her how to fight.
A knight bursts in. Maybe she's like seriously just learning, and he just bursts in. A knight bursts in, like, "Sir, we have an issue," and that's when we see the sky coming, and she's like,
"Yeah, that would work."
And she's like, "Wait, Kate." So she's like, "Well, come back. You got to keep practicing." And she's like being optimistic because he's a hero. Why would he die? She's her bodyguard.
Don't stop practicing until I get back.
Yeah,
is what he says to her. So he and he dies. He never comes back. He doesn't come back.
And after the funeral, we see her storming off, and they're like, "Princess Seraphina, where are you going?" And she's like, not, and she just starts running, Princess Seraphina, and like no one can find her. They're running around the whole castle, and you hear, and she's just hitting a dummy, and then you just see all the
you see the fury of a million princesses in each of those swings. Just angry, sad.
Aww. And again, I'm not trying to make this a romantic thing, but we've had it that they've been these reincarnated beings, so there's a deep, we're skirting the line here, Tim. There is a deep love for Kaylin from her, but because of this age gap in this life, it was originally meant to just be this paternal sibling figure. So, but in a way, I would want I loved what you just said right there. The, thousands of princesses from ago just raging because it's just this isn't how it's supposed to happen with the hero. They're not supposed to die like that. That's weird. So early. What's going on? Something's wrong, and it's just. And I imagine
it's weird, but it's not.
Yeah.
He served his quote unquote. He served his purpose, where he stopped the evil at that time.
But no one. I think it would be cool to be like, this feels wrong. Like, it didn't feel. It felt like it felt like the mom was just telling her months ago, like, in your lifetime, because it was 4 years after that story. Like, I just want there to have a sense of, like, everyone's going, this is weird, right? The hero's gone. Like, did that really happen? Like, he just stopped it? I don't know. I just want that scene of him trying to find her, and one of the knights, like, one knight runs through you see the archway of the courtyard. One knight runs, and and you hear the clunking of armor, and then you hear, and he backtracks, and you see her just, like, practicing, crying, and she's, like, trying to hit like a dummy, and when she goes to do a final swing, you see another sword come up, and that knight starts training her, and then you see all these knights come up, and they're like, "We'll help you, princess."
I like that.
And they're all, like, crying, like, and then the king and queen come out, and he's trying to be angry with her, and they just see her holding the sword, and I like to think that maybe it wasn't, like, proper for her to learn it. And then they all just, and he gives, like, a little nod or whatever, and they all just kind of just have, like, that's where they have the rest of the funeral, if that makes sense. That's the ending, in a way. Like, that was a good way, and... Oh.
Yep. I like it. And then I can see the transition scene to the next one so easily. We can, we pan out. It's still raining, but it's starting to slow. And we're hearing, we're hearing the clash of metal, sword on sword.
I can imagine that old knight is now the captain. He's the head of the guard. He's got gray in his beard. He's bald. And he's like, "Well done, princess. Look at all, like, well, you've trained." Like, just some weird Highland accent.
No. Here's what I see.
Okay.
It's a Merida moment.
Merida.
We hear the clash of swords. The rain stops. Sky goes blue. The swords get more intense, a little less uniform, and some strikes are heavier than others. And we zoom back in again, and we see an older Seraphina in her mid-20s now, about 10 years later. And she is...
More like 15.
I think
12, yeah. So she's about 22.
No, 24.
Oh, she was 14?
She was 14.
Oh, because she was 10 when they were telling the story? Yeah. Okay, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So she's 24 now, and we zoom in and we can see her older now, and we see her fighting this captain of the guard. Or maybe we don't see the captain of the guard. Maybe we see...
Like 3 dudes.
We see three soldiers in full armor, and we see her in full armor, but also a custom helmet that looks very...
She has red hair now in my head. I can't... I know
sure.
We want blonde, but I am now just imagining...
I was actually thinking brunette.
Oh, I am now imagining... you could do the dark red. That dark, almost brunette red. It's a very...
Almost like my wife's hair, but if it was a little more...
Little streaks of it.
Uh-huh.
It's really cool to see. I have a few family members with it.
Yeah. I have a good friend who...
So I do want to throw in, we have to make sure that we really do see just that struggle. I want to have a few scenes of her like stumbling up, maybe she's like bowing for court things. She's hobbling. It just shows her like being the princess as well as training. It shows the princess putting on these long sleeves, covering up her bruises. It shows her it shows Princess Seraphina. And I want this to be like, for anyone who has played sports competitively, you guys know ice baths stink and they're terrible, or even just a hot bath to calm you down. I just imagine we just hear Seraphina screaming and it shows her in and I want it to be an appropriate angle. I don't want it to be like sexualized in any way. Mm-hmm. But I imagine you see three maids running out of the bathroom, and you see just thrashing in the pool because it burns. Mm-hmm. She has all these cuts, all these bruises, and then it like shows her training. I just want to see that struggle. I like to see like how much effort someone goes into putting their work.
When you have a prodigy who just gets it instantly and doesn't have to train.
Half the time though, those prodigy boys are just the villains, and that's what I don't like. That is an
issue I have with movies and TV shows. Again, it's the prodigy thing. It's the issue of the prodigy, and I
show us the struggle. That's all I'm saying is, even though these movies and stories are going to be short to us, try to make us at least feel the stretch, the length of time. Sorry, that was a big rant, but I just want to emotionally feel connected to their struggle. And for anyone going, well, what about Kalen? He was like, well, you know what? I would have wanted to see Kalen's journey too, but this story really isn't about Kalen right now.
Well, and the thing about Kalen is he has...
It's implied that he was... I would want if we followed Kalen's story when he was a little boy, I would want to see the same darn thing. I would want to see his journey. But right now, it's not about Kalen. We are talking about Seraphina.
Well, and the thing, my thought with the hero is he's just like the Avatar. He's had hundreds of lifetimes to master every form of fighting. And, he's a different person, but that almost like muscle memory comes back very quickly.
Okay.
That's what I've been imagining.
Well, now we just sound sexist.
And we can imply that. No. I didn't mean to be sexist, but
that's where this gray area is in. It's like I want to write this well, but I also want to be like, I don't want to feel like I'm cheating, but sometimes
I don't want a prodigy character.
I don't want a prodigy character. Like Meredith, I thought she, like, I love how we keep bringing her up. Merida, I loved her because we could see how much she trained. When she does that horse ride, you could see all the notches in the trees. You can see how many times, and then she slowly got it and worked and worked and worked and became her own hand. That was amazing. I love Brave. I don't care what anyone says.
Brave is
a great one, and I blame everyone else for not loving that movie because it deserved it.
I agree.
Anyway.
It was
wow, that was a rant. Probably take away. I'll probably take a lot of that out.
Anyway, so we'll cut to Seraphina. I want her to absolutely destroy.
Oh yeah.
These guys in this sword fight. I want to see her.
Huge. They got maces.
They're big. Yeah, we have.
They're
one
like
with,
So, but just one of those fights of like, and it might be cliche, but don't care, want it. I want to see that she works.
We've seen this kind of thing many times, but I want it again.
I love it.
She's put in this 10 years of effort into learning how to fight with a sword. She's gonna know how to fight with it. If she is putting in as much effort into sword fighting as she is into the other duties she has as a princess, she's gonna be good at sword fighting.
See, I just want one part of this fight, and it shows, like, I imagine it shows the guard watching, the one guard who, like, took the mantle of watching her. He's just sitting there, he's aged. He's standing there, and it shows Seraphina just getting all warmed up. She's wearing her armor, she's got her sword, and it could be, and they're blunted, you know. And then it shows the three guys. One's got two swords, one's got a mace, one's got a giant shield, and another thing. And she's like, begin. And right when she says begin, first guy I imagine just flying, just tackling the first guy. They don't even see it coming. Just the first guy with two swords, bam, and just see the two swords fall to the ground, and they're like, oh boy. And she turns around like, ah! And they're like, oh man, and then it just...
I was actually thinking the cut would come from... this cut would be between the funeral when she's fighting. And then we're hearing the clashing of swords, more intense, more erratic, less uniform, because this is an actual fight, not training. And and we can see her basically dancing around these three knights, and she knocks one to the ground by maybe she basically punches his helmet, and it knocks him to the ground, knocks him into a wall, and she dances around another guy, and he takes his mace and swings at her, and she dodges out of the way, and he hits the guy that's already been hit into the wall again. And I want it to be like she is trading, not even trading blows. She is just hitting them, and they can't hit her. Like that's how good she's gotten. And the fight will be over in like 30 seconds. You know, she kicks one guy's legs out from under him, and the other guy, she gets up behind him, and
maybe one guy bear hugs,
sword at his throat, kind of thing.
I imagine like the whole like bear hug thing, and she sees someone's coming, she does like, she moves her body weight and drops right when one guy's going for a punch, and he just smacks the other guy, and she finally breaks him off. It's a struggle, breaks him off, and then I think it'll be a fun scene. Anyway, man, why do we do this with our beginnings? It's an hour long.
Setting up the world.
I know.
Setting up the world. Anyway, Seraphina is going to take Astra, the sword, and they are going to discover that Malachar is gonna come back soon.
Okay.
They see the signs of his return as stated in the prophecy. You know, the sky goes dark. Maybe the sun turns red. And the sun will turn red. Sun turns red a few days before he's supposed to return, kind of thing. And so she is going to take Astra, and she's going to go and try to find the hero. She's going to go and try to find Kalen's
successor,
his reincarnated self. And she's going to go, and I like the idea that each reincarnation, it's new memories, and it takes time before old memories come back. And we'll see that in a minute. She's going to go out, and she's going to have a couple traveling companions. These traveling companions will they'll guide her. They don't need to protect her because she can hold her own against just about anybody. Something will happen with Malachar, prophecy of his return. Stuff will start happening. The ground will start splitting open. Earthquakes, volcanoes, everything. All of the natural disasters, and one by one we'll lose those traveling companions, and she'll be left alone, and she'll be found. I think she will. I'm almost thinking an earthquake, the ground splits open, the last of her traveling companions fall into the pit. She's holding on. She pulls onto a tree. She pulls herself up and starts running away from it. Turns to look back at the pit, then looks back at where she's running and runs straight into a tree, knocking herself out. And then the next scene, we'll see her being nursed back to health. We had a similar scene with the our samurai guy. I kind of like that idea where she wakes up and she is, she's still in her armor. It hasn't been very long, but she is propped up against a tree. There's a fire going, and there's a young man sitting on a log across from her.
I imagine she's in armor and he can't tell that it's a woman.
I don't know. I think she's got the long hair. She looks like a woman.
She looks like a woman.
He knows. So she'll sit up, and the young man will say, "That was dangerous. Are you okay? How you feeling? Here's some soup."
Always got to have the soup.
Gotta have the soup.
I love soup. It's almost soup season. Anyway, that was dangerous of you.
Are you okay? Blah blah blah. And she will say, I've got to go find the reincarnated hero.
So does this guy not even look like it? He just don't even look like it.
No. We will. Yes, he kind of looks like him. Kind of, somewhat. General face structure, but going from the blonde hair, blue eyes to now he's got rough dark brown hair and very intense brown eyes. He's got maybe some wear on his face from working out in the sun. Scruffy. Nerf herder. And yeah, over a very short amount of time, she'll suspect that it's him, and so she's going to start doing tests to see if it is. I think one of those times she just straight up attacks him one morning with a sword, tosses him Astra, and rushes him with her own blade, and he's stumbling over his own feet, and he's falling down. He's tripping over everything, barely blocking blows, and she knocks him to the ground, and memories will start. We'll see little memories of some sword fighting, and so he'll start swinging his sword, and it'll go from a very crude sword fight to this is two masters fighting.
So what if?
And that can be a little later, and that'll be This is when she's like, okay, you really are him.
So what if we kind of hear that maybe the kid doesn't want it. Because maybe the time when the hero died, it came upon him. Maybe at the same time that was ending, this little boy, because he would have been the same age as her, saved his family, and the spirit came into him. Because it was like, you know what? You have, like, Green Lantern type style, Paladin, like Oath Promise. It like it was going to wait, but maybe the sword Astra gave it. Maybe the sword gave a hint that another hero was out there. Maybe it glinted, it shined. It gave us some, like, avatar light, something to let them know, like, he's
out there.
The spirit chose another person. It's not Kaylin, but it's someone who definitely could have been. Because it's like, there's so many people who could have been that sort of thing. It's kind of like Harry Potter and Neville. Mm-hmm. So, like, this boy isn't Kaylin, but he has the spirit, he has it thrust upon him, like we were talking about before. Like, there's a difference. So I kind of like the idea that we have the chosen one versus take this, you're it now. Mm-hmm. Paladin. So it's chosen one versus Paladin. I like it. Yeah. So I would love a scene of her, like, maybe confronting him about it, because he knows darn well what has happened to him. He knows darn well that he has those memories, and she's, after maybe this fight, she, like, confronts him like, I knew it. You've been blessed with the spirit. You are the new hero. Why didn't you come to the palace? Where have you been? Sort of thing. Like, you know that when one is supposed to, and they all know this legend. If the hero dies, there's a chance that someone could be called. And everyone in the kingdom knew. And no one came. Maybe that's something that there could be mentioned, that no one came when they saw Astra give out the call that, like, hey, the hero is still around. There is a hero. Sort of thing. Or is that lame?
I don't know. I think it's... I kind of like the idea more he's awakening those memories.
Okay.
And awakening that skill. And so it's going to take time, it's going to take some effort, and he's got to learn how to unlock that skill that his past lives have had, but he can do it, and now he has to do it quickly so that he can save everybody, and he's got Seraphina to help.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe before Kaylin goes and dies, he teaches Seraphina a couple things. Maybe one important lesson with a sword, and she teaches that to him, and that awakens more memory.
Maybe even a phrase. Maybe he says it.
Yeah.
Maybe he just says, like, a weird phrase, and he's like, I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm just intrigued by the idea that the spirit can either be reborn or it can call someone. I really like that. So my question, though, is, like, is it really, so does it take over this person and it is the new hero, or is it kind of like, I have these memories from the spirits?
I think it's a little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
So, like, the Kaylin that had just died had been a baby when he was...
Yeah.
He was born into it, and so he grew up with it, and he didn't have to worry about the spirit taking over.
So what's this new kid's name?
I was thinking Ren. Or...
What's another? I think of stupid Ren and Stimpy, and I hate that show. I'm sorry. I do like Ren, but I just...
Yeah.
I do like that sort of style, but I just think of Ren and Stimpy. For now, we can say Ren, but I'll just imagine Stimpy coming out of nowhere going, Ren! Hey, Ren, guess what? It's fine. It just made me laugh. Ren and Astra.
I don't know.
It's fine. We can stick with Ren. I like Ren. Ren is simple.
We'll
I think it's a simple name that a farm boy, like a poor person, would stick with. A simple name. It's not like some long name. They could crudely spell it.
Just R-I-N, Rin, or Ren, however you imagine it.
Rin would work.
Okay.
It's a little different.
Rin. Like, his name would just be this... just some illiterate farmhand boy saves the princess. And he's like, it was dangerous. That's cute. Okay, all right, I'm liking it more. Now that we've given him a name, it's growing on me, Tim. So after they've started awakening his powers, so what's the big deal at the end? So I'm guessing I'm gonna get my love-a-dove stuff somewhat down the line.
Yeah, I think through this little bit, through these trials that she is putting him through to test him, she's starting to kind of fall for him. He's a cute boy, and she's at that age where she's looking for love, kind of thing.
And it's something, and again, they're drawn to each other due to this. I would imagine it's something that, and I don't want it just to be like, oh, he's possessed with a spirit. I want them to fall in love from it. That's why I kind of would argue like a few scenes of them, like she does a few tests in the beginning and he's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't know. It'd be cute that maybe when he's feeding her, he says a line that only Kaylin would say to her. Like, well, toughen up. Just like toughen up, sweet princess, and like gotta get training or something. Like he says something that Kaylin would always say and she gets suspicious, like,
Mm-hmm.
But I can see it. I can see a cute montage, cute tests. So what would be the final? So what's your twist, though? So what?
That kind of was the twist.
Oh, okay.
That Rin would be Kaylin reborn.
Okay.
And I think his personality would be very similar to Kaylin.
Mm-hmm.
And so Seraphina's like, this kid is very familiar.
What if he's
very similar
Kaylin?
Personality?
What if he can see Kaylin every now? What if we see a few scenes when he's
While he's dreaming, maybe.
Yeah, maybe he's like, or while it's starting to the memories come back, we can see Kaylin like as a figure in the forest, like, and it's very fuzzy. But then at the end, maybe they both see him like in the final fight. They just see him like, and he's just looking at both of them like smiling, and then he moves on, and his work is done.
I feel like Kaylin is almost more of a title, because it was the name of the first hero, and I think every hero adopts that name.
Okay.
And so Rin would become Kaylin at some point.
So it's a title, not
it would be more of a title. Like, it's a name, but more of like a titular kind of name.
Okay. The hero Kaylin.
Mm-hmm.
So the Uncle Kaylin, this is weird. The first Kaylin.
Yeah.
Did he have a different name, or was he born?
I think maybe
Kaylin?
he was born with a different name, but when his family when they realized he was the hero, he was only called Kaylin.
So maybe it's not that people are. Okay, so we just need to imply that this spirit, seriously, as soon as someone dies, will go to someone new, and whether it's someone who is like someone born with it or someone who needs it thrust upon them. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. They will become it, and their knowledge will come. I just don't know. I'm not a fan of him changing his name. Maybe she jokes about it, and he's like, "No, I'm Rin. Like, you can call me the title, but." Okay, so I'm guessing the final fight would lead up to a final fight.
Yeah, it would be there at this point. Now they're traveling to that canyon, and they're going to fight together. I want it to be, for any of you who have played the Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks, or even Wind Waker, and actually most of the Zelda games.
I was about to say,
Zelda fights with Link in the final fight at some point in some capacity. I want this to be a very similar thing, and Kaylin is helping Rin fight, and it would be it wouldn't be a sword on sword. It would be, this is a sword fighting against a giant mass of darkness that doesn't really have a form, but it sends out these tendrils of darkness that maybe create monsters that they have to fight. Maybe in that first fight, when the original fight, when Malachar is sealed, Kaelin leapt off the cliff and stabbed the glowing red orb, and so now the glowing red orb is farther away, so that he can't be defeated like that. And I'm not exactly sure how the fight will go. I just want one of my favorite scenes in a Zelda game is in Spirit Tracks, when Link and Zelda are holding the sword together to stab Malladus in the forehead.
It's a different thing. It's not Ganondorf.
No, it's a different demon.
Cool.
Still the Demon King, but yeah. So I want that scene where they are both holding. Maybe Rin is injured somewhat, and he's having a really hard time holding onto the sword, and Kaelin comes in next to him and grabs the sword over his hands to help hold the sword.
You got to have a Darkling fight, and you got to have like a thing of Kaelin come out. It just steps down, and they're just like, oh, good gravy. And then it shows, and of course it'll come with like, it'll show all these other soldiers and things that it's killed, and it's kind of making these inky, gross copies of them. But then one steps up, and it's just Kaelin, and you're like, oh, okay,
I like it. And then she can really show off her sword fight skill, her sword skills, and yeah, I like that.
I think it would still be fun for a fight. So that's kind of your skeletal.
That's my skeleton.
I should have said, just give me bare bones. Darn.
That's my skeleton.
Well, we'll definitely have to. We'll fill in some blanks, but here is, I guess I kind of want to show what I was thinking and what my twist wanted to be. So I mentioned it earlier that I wanted to have it be this immortal princess. She's always had a hero, and he would always find her way back to him. Just many lives, and it's kind of like this curse in a way that he's always, and it's not like he literally will just be reborn and he'll slowly just find his way, like wandering. He'll look different every now and then, but she will always have a hero. And I was thinking a very similar thing of going through this story of this eternal being with her companion, and he can live a long time. Like, he'll live as long as it takes, but if he's just killed, he'll die. Technically she might too, but they've never known because he's always sacrificed himself. The female, she has never died, never, ever, because the hero always came, until this dark entity, this something, and I would have it like a Ganondorf style manifest as either a person, thing, obstacle, whatever, and it was going to show the similar fight. Knight, like really, we were really thinking the same thing in a way at the very beginning. A knight standing in front of the princess, there's armies around, and all of a sudden it shows them fighting, and he gets run through, but something's different and wrong this time. He stabs him through, and he looks back at the princess, and quick, like, I love you scene, and then they just both die, just gone, and everything seems to be better. And then we just cut, and the main part of the story is like her dealing with loneliness, and I was gonna have like signs of this dark being. And what was the name of yours again?
Malachar.
I'll just say that his name is Malachar. I'm just gonna steal Tim's names. I don't care. Selfish blood. Serafina would just be living alone and, would have kingdoms, everything's to be at peace, but then signs of his return are coming. And she's freaking out because where's the hero? It's been hundreds of years, Tim. I'm talking for an eternal being, it's starting to get weird. Because he usually would appear in less than half a decade, if not more. Like, he would be back to her, very quickly. But it's been enough that she's scared. And we would just see on and on and on of this existence. And the big twist would be, portal opens and boots come out. They seem wrong. They seem twisted. And it shows this being step in, and it's just wrecking up her army. And she's learned how to train too, and she's been fighting. She's done I was thinking the same thing. This Serafina would finally just be like, I will have to become I'm going to have to finally fight on my own. I don't need my hero. I don't need anything. And I now want it to be implied that she fought. It's just that Kaylin, I'll just steal that name as well. I'm going to steal all the names. Yeah. Kaylin always died for her. No matter what. Like, it was just what he did. And it was almost like a weird curse. Again, it just seemed like something would cause him to die. And again, big fight. She's defended her kingdom. She's done the whole darn thing by herself. This dark Malekith, it looks different. He looks brooding. Everyone's terrified. He's back. He's been slowly taking over her kingdom. She's been leading an army. And then it would be, I don't know, I want to ask, can you take a guess of what's the big twist?
The bad guy is him reborn?
Yes. So something went wrong and Kaylin would be evil. And the rest of the movie would be her trying to deal with it. I don't know really what I was hoping to do. It was probably going to be a short, simple sort of thing. But in my head, I just imagine they both die in the end. And it kind of ends everything altogether.
That's depressing.
I know, but
it's really depressing.
I know.
I was gonna have the happy ending.
Here's the thing: they both die, but then it cuts to this little girl running through a field, and all of a sudden she's like playing with a dog, and then bam, she bumps head with someone and looks up, and it's just a little boy, and they're like, hi, and then that's the end of the movie. Just cute reincarnation thing.
Okay.
So that was kind of my thing. And it was going to be so sad because it wasn't like this Kaylin didn't know. He knew. But he couldn't. He just also, like, everything spiteful, everything that he hated about this existence, anything that he might have felt that was negative had manifested to become this dark version, and he couldn't stand her anymore. And it was going to be, and I was going to have a few scenes of her almost dying from him. He gets off after her, and it's just her kind of running away. She's heartbroken because how can you do it? How can you fight it? And yeah, I don't know. That was kind of my idea, but I think we'll have to, maybe someday we'll have to sit down and we'll write a big story about this. But that's kind of where I went with mine. It was going to be a tragic, eternal story, and then I just imagine that part where, like, because that song has like that awful breakup feel, and finally, it says, I saw a boy who looked like you. I want that scene of when he finally takes his helmet off and his hair comes down, he looks up, he just looks wrong, but yet it's him, it's the boy that she loved. It's the hero that always came back to her, and technically he did. But it's just something was wrong, and I just wanted that feeling of like, I can't get you back, and it's sad. So, and the final fight would be, I don't know, I just imagine, I want her hand on his face at one point, like right before the fight, or maybe after he stabs her, I don't know.
But yeah, it wasn't gonna be some happy, cute one. It was gonna be a feeling of oh. So.
Okay.
We'll revisit this one day. I hope you guys like this one. Next time we'll do a better job of not going on tangents, and we'll simplify it, and then we'll talk about it like we did with the samurai. We'll do that again. I think that was one of our funnest ones.
I enjoyed that one a lot. That and the teddy bears.
Oh my gosh, that one was so good. I don't know, Tim, do you got any final thoughts?
Not really. Just be kind to each other. You know, as always, love each other, be kind. Don't give up.
Aw. I hope you like this episode, Tim. I'm sorry if it was kind of all over the place.
I thought it was fun.
I thought it was fun just to nerd out, talk about Legend of Zelda, and make up a fun little what-if story. I want to do both of these stories. We'll do both. We'll do both. We'll make them. We'll do a double feature one day, and we'll just make them. We'll make them both happen.
I like it.
But for everyone out there, have a wonderful time. Hope you enjoy our stories. And until next time, we will see you later, pitches. Bye.
Goodbye.